Hi everyone, this is John. Normally I make videos about photography, just showing my outings and different things like that. But this video is a little different. I wanted to talk about coronavirus and church. I'm not a pastor, I'm not ordained or anything like that. I'm just trying to be a follower of Jesus and live in this world with Jesus. So recently I've been seeing a lot of friends' churches around the country just sort of shutting down for a while with the coronavirus shutdowns and them having to adjust. I'm at a point where I'm visiting a lot of churches, looking for a home church. But something struck me about the idea of being flexible. Earlier today I was just hearing a gardener working outside, and I don't know how his job has been impacted over the last couple weeks, but it sounded like he was still working and getting paid. And I was just thinking about the idea of being flexible, like to be able to endure change, downturn, hardship, is remaining flexible. And I was thinking about Philip the evangelist out of the book of Acts. You know, one day he's here, one day he's somewhere else. And different people, different circumstances. And it doesn't say anything about his psyche, like if he was exhausted or, heartbroken to be changing from these people to go hang out with these people. But it just exemplified someone who's flexible. Another saint of the past, I think of Saint Francis of Assisi. There's a story of him before he was Saint Francis of Assisi. He was just Francesco Bernardone from Italy. He would ride into a city, on his horse every now and then, and there would be beggars at the city gates, and some of them would be lepers, and he'd always look on them with sort of like this disdain and like, ew. And I was thinking of the gardener from this morning. Like, if there's any jobs that we look upon that, we know are necessary, these people are valuable in some perspective, but we look perhaps on their job and just think, I would never do that. I would never want to be that. I don't want to be around that. And so with the story of St. Francis, one day when he was going back into the city like he normally did, he saw lepers like he normally did, but here he heard the voice of God. And the voice said, that which you find bitter will become sweet, and that which you find sweet will become bitter. And the idea was, he looked down upon the lepers, and he tried to distance himself from that. Like, that was a bitter thing. And as time went on, he knew that was God saying to him, minister unto the lepers. Devote yourself unto the lepers. And in his time, that's not a way to make money. That's sort of giving up your life. And and in this time of day, to think, what are the needs that come up to survive and be flexible as a follower of Jesus? With coronavirus and all that, with the shutdowns, we have a lot of challenges. We're supposed to be apart. We're supposed to be separate. And yet, with technology, with just being rebellious and going outside, how can we find that which is bitter and make it sweet? Like, would God say, whatever we're looking at, is that something bitter that we can devote ourselves to? Because sometimes the idea of giving up our dreams, giving up our goals, giving up our safety, or at least our desire for safety, it can keep us sort of locked into tunnel vision. And the idea of giving those up, it seems like you're giving up your life. Like, why would you want to give up on your goals? Why would you want to give up on what's important to you? We're not taught that. And I mean, maybe we're taught that on Sunday school, but when it gets to reality, it's a scary thing to give up what we're comfortable with and what we want. But to have that ability to lay it down, do we have that? this time, it's also the season of Lent. It's just funny. It's a time of fasting and a time of just sort of giving up to receive what God has. And for Jesus, the idea of Lent is we're following Jesus, which he gave up his life for us. And I don't know if it says for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. And to me, it sounds like for the joy set before him of what God wanted, he endured hardship, he endured pain like I couldn't imagine. And he was rewarded for it. And not in a sense like, here's a bunch of money, here's a bunch of safety, here's a bunch of what you think a reward might be, or we might think a reward might be. But to ask, Lord, what do I find bitter in this time? What do you want to become sweet? Lord, give me eyes to see. Give me courage to listen. Because sometimes, we ask God for things, but we want to go like this to the answer. And to hear truth, it's scary because who wants to hang out with lepers? Who wants to hang out with people in need? And not to say everybody's lepers, but the idea of just being open to our community. Who do we find in need? Like today I do a discussion, a weird discussion on Facebook with somebody about the elderly, who in this time where a lot of things are being shut down and they're asking you to conduct business as usual, but online. What about people that don't have online capabilities or don't know how to use the internet? How can we be available to our community? And sometimes it takes community to bring out those answers. It's not just we maybe have all the answers to ourselves, but how can we at least ask the question? How can we help? As Jesus might say, it's more blessed to give than to receive. How can we give in this time? How can we be a community? So that's all I wanted to say. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. I'm not sick. And so I pray for you, and that's all I had to say. Thank you.